Jai Shri Ram. It's a short poem, very nice, interesting. Of course, it is slightly flawed. I'll explain that later. It's a nice poem. I do not know who's the writer. Do it now. I expect to pass through this world but once. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness I can show to any fellow human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer nor neglect it. I shall not pass this way again. Lovely. The message is simple. To a certain extent, this is true. We may not meet people the second time. We meet so many people. We meet strangers. We meet so many people in so many places, and it is certain most of the time we know that we're not going to meet this person again ever in our life. So, what is the thing you should do? Do some act of kindness. Whatever, some act of kindness, some nice thing, a good word, a little compliment, a word of praise, something to cheer them up. Do something like that. Say something that they will benefit from. Please do that, because you may not meet that person again, isn't it? Now look at the poem. It's a lovely poem, no doubt. I expect to pass through this world but once. There I have a problem. This is an Abrahamic conception. You see, in Abrahamic religions, which means Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, their belief is that this life is only for once. And many people also keep saying, life is for once, so enjoy it. Now, this is a thoroughly irrational statement. Hinduism doesn't say that life is for once. You will have to come back. Why do you have to come back? Because you will have to pay for the deeds that you have done. And if you have done something good, you will also harvest the benefits. And if you do something bad and harm others, you will have to come back. Now, you may dismiss this argument as a mere dogma. I am free to think like this. And how can you prove it? That we will have to come back. Now, I can't prove it, but I can give you some reasoning which will make you think. Now, see, ask people subscribing to Abrahamic religions, that means the Israelites, the Christians or Muslims, this question: why does your so merciful God uh, bring about children, cause children to be born with horrible diseases? Why does your so merciful God make some people take birth in extremely poor, horrible families? Why does your so merciful God cause children to be abused sexually, children to suffer without any parents, no love, no food, no schooling, and they have horrible childhoods? Why? While some children are born in good households, some children are born in a loving family. They get an enriched environment to learn everything. They grow up. They have no suffering, no misery. Of course, the normal suffering in life that everyone has to, but it is patently unreasonable. Why is God allowing some children to be born blind? He's born blind. What sin has this fellow committed to be born blind? Why? And you say that your God is merciful. If your God is merciful, then he should make sure that every child is born in a rich family, gets all the food, and is not sexually abused. He does not become, in many nations, pederasty, pedophilia, and many, so-called saints and prophets are also there who were busy doing this. So I'm not naming anybody, you can understand. So what kind of a merciful God is he who allows children to be born blind or suffering from such incurable diseases? You can't even look at the child. It's so painful. You must have seen, isn't it? So, the merciful God should not be doing this. Ask them this question, they will not have an answer. They will not have an answer. So, logically, the only answer is, the person is born in this way because he is paying for some papam he committed in some earlier life. And we here have a duty to serve them, help them. Because compassion, if you show compassion and work for others, serve others, then God will give you points. So you will get a lot of points. That means you will acquire punyam. Unfortunately, in English, you don't have an equivalent for punyam, but they have this word sin. Sin is a strange Christian concept. Sin actually does not mean papam. Papam is a word in Sanskrit and Telugu. Papam means any activity that harms somebody, either by thought, word, or action, speech. Thought, speech, or action. So if you harm somebody, even kill an animal, kill an ant, eat meat, hurt somebody, that will have a reaction. Every action has a equal and opposite reaction. No. Sometimes every action has a more than equal, more than opposite delayed reaction. So this is papam, recoil. The repercussions cannot be avoided. So that is the meaning of papam. Papam, anybody can suffer. Even a saint will suffer. Even Rama and Krishna, when they took avatars, they had to face the consequences of their actions while they were humans. So that is why even avatar purushas have to suffer. Once they come to this plane, they will be governed by the rules of this plane, the material plane. So they are no longer devas. So this is the concept in Sanatana Dharma, which is perfectly rational. So if somebody is born with horrible diseases, it must be because he must have committed some papam in the earlier birth. Now this sin, I have repeatedly discussed this, but anyway, since I did not complete the meaning of the discussion of the word sin now. Sin is a Christian concept. There is this story of Adam and Eve. So God told Adam not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge. Adam was a good boy, he didn't eat. But Adam later wanted company, and God took a rib from Adam and created Eve. So Eve was born of the rib. And Eve was tempted by the serpent, who was Shaitan. And this story is there in all the Abrahamic religions. So the Shaitan tempted Eve and told Eve that you should eat this fruit. It's very tasty and all that. So Eve now got tempted and took the fruit to Adam and tempted Adam, and Adam ate the fruit. And thus he violated the command of God. So then God got angry because Adam disobeyed him. So Adam and Eve were kicked out of paradise. So that is called sin, the act of disobedience of Adam. And then the rest of the religion is that this act of disobedience, which is sin, infects every human being, because Adam is treated as universal man. Therefore every one of us is a born sinner. We are all born sinners. And so the only way we can be saved is by accepting Jesus Christ, who offered his life as a sacrifice. He was the lamb. So the only way God can be pleased is by sacrifice. So God gave his only son, who died and who sacrificed himself for our sins. So by accepting Jesus and his sacrifice, we can be saved, not otherwise. So this is the Abrahamic concept. Now some fundamental questions are: no court of law anywhere on earth can absolve a criminal of a crime if some other person is willing to go to jail or be hanged. That means some other person is willing, in place of this fellow, to face the punishment. That's not allowed. So logically also it's not appealing. Anyway, that is their religion. Now this poem, if you see the first line, I expect to pass through this world but once. I reject that line. I expect to pass through this place, or I expect to pass through this interaction, maybe only once. But it's possible that I might meet that person again also. But I expect to pass through this world but once is not acceptable. Unless you are a Nityamukta like Garuda or Lakshmi Devi, these are eternally free souls who take birth to help people like us. Right? So in Sanatana Dharma, the classification of souls broadly is Nityamukta. That means they were never bound. They were eternal companions of Krishna, because the Vedic mantra is Dvasuparna. There were two birds sitting on the tree. That means the Jivatma and Paramatma. So some of the Jivatmas never ever fell for the lure of the material world. They never got attached. So like Lakshmi Devi, Hanuman, Garuda and so many devas are there. They never had to take birth as humans because they never got attached. They are the Nitya Muktas. And then Mukti Yogyas are there, like you and me. We are making an effort. You are listening to me patiently. I am also trying to read and to summarize and pass on this knowledge, and by doing so, I expect to get some points from Krishna, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 1868 to 1871, the greatest act of service to me is by teaching Bhagavad Gita. Hmm? So that is the highest punyam. So if you listen, study, or teach, all three things if you do, if you can study, if you listen, or you teach, you are guaranteed moksha by Krishna. 1868 to 1871. Please check up. And incidentally, Krishna also says his dearest devotee is one who teaches. Of course, all three are already guaranteed moksha, but his dearest devotee is one who teaches Bhagavad Gita. So that's what I am trying to do. I am trying to meet Krishna's requirement, so that Krishna will give me some points, and finally I will be totally free. So Mukti Yogya, second category. Third category, Nitya Samsari. These fellows will ever be born again and again and again and again, because they are Nitya Samsari. They are permanently attached. They are attached to the family, the wife, the kids, the property. Din bar yahi kaam. 24 hours they are working only for money and trying to have a nice time. Moksha is completely out. They may go to temples, then they will claim also that they have gone to so many temples, or they have gone to this temple 20 times, 30 times, as if Krishna is going to be pleased with this. Okay. You can acquire some punyam. You will go to heaven, enjoy the pleasures, come back again, be a man. Once you exhaust all the accumulated merit, punyam. Punyam in English there is no word, because they don't have a concept. They describe punyam as meritorious deeds, righteous action. Weird explanations. And sin, of course, I already told you. So papam also is not there. Papam is not there. They think they can get over all papams. Just by accepting Jesus, they think they can get over papams. Even if you accept Krishna, you cannot get over papams like that. You will face, Krishna will give you the strength to face it. And once you are immersed in Krishna consciousness, you will gradually, that inclination will go away. And finally, of course, there is a method to get out of it also. You have pulled the plug completely. That means all the Sanchita karma will be burnt. That is why the Charama Shlokam 1866 is very important. Once you accept Krishna, totally surrender to Krishna, you become a prapanna. Then Krishna will pull the plug. That means all the Sanchita karma backlog is burnt. Only prarabdha will continue. That means this particular body in this birth will suffer for some more time. And when you switch off the fan will revolve for some time and stop. Likewise, once you take to Krishna consciousness, the fan will stop after some time. There will be no rebirth, you will be released, and you will be guaranteed moksha. So I think you understood. It's a nice poem. I'll read it again. I expect to pass through this world but once. I disagree with that. Any good thing, therefore, that I can do, or any kindness I can show to any fellow human being, let me do it now. Let me not defer means postpone, nor neglect it. I shall not pass this way again. So, kindness to strangers. In fact, you will also find in our lives also, there have been many strangers who have done acts of kindness which we can't forget, or maybe we have forgotten. So, show kindness to total strangers, to insects, to animals. Be kind, because you never know, you may not meet them again, and you will have spread a little sunshine in their lives. And Krishna is going to give bonus points for this. Jai Shri Ram.